Coffee, why you should switch over to other alternatives. Coming up. Hi everyone, this is Dr. Ernesto from AttaboyCowboy, and on this channel we give you health and wealth tips to help you be more successful. Now today I'm recording from Colombia, the coffee capital of the world. So of course I wanted to talk a little about coffee because it's one of the most popular questions I get from patients. And today I just happen to be in Cartagena, Colombia in the Caribbean, which is one of the most beautiful cities you can visit in the world. Look at this beautiful view here. Luckily I was able to get up early enough today that I could film this alley, because in a few hours this is going to be shoulder to shoulder. You won't be able to walk through here and film like this, and there'll be way too much noise. People put out their stereos, people are yelling, they're drinking, they're dancing. It's really exciting, really cool actually. And all along these alleyways, people decorate them. You'll notice there's like art on the walls here, and then they put these cool umbrellas on top. So it's a really picturesque environment, and I'm grateful to be able to be here and share it with you. So let me talk a little bit about coffee, because I just came back from the coffee plantations. I did some tours and learned some really interesting things about coffee. So first off, let me admit, I don't drink coffee. I've never drank coffee, but I come from a family of huge coffee drinkers. My dad drinks about 3 pots a day. My sisters, everybody I know, my grandmother, my grandfather, oh man, everybody I know drinks coffee. The hospitals, all my co-workers drink coffee to stay up all night. And I often ask myself, what's the deal with the coffee? Well, let me share with you a little bit about the pros and the cons, and I'll go over some myths about coffee. And let me talk about the current conditions of coffee, what's happening here in Colombia. Because of global warming, production is dropping precipitously. I went to the coffee region. It's kind of a cloud forest area. It's cold and rainy, and there's mountains. And they're kind of like this, there's peaks, and they grow coffee all around the sides of the mountains. The shaded area creates the best type of coffee. But as the world heats up, the heat is rising up the mountain ranges, and you're no longer able to grow coffee at the bottoms of these mountains. And there's less production. And there's only 1 growing season now instead of 2. We used to have 2 growing seasons over here in Colombia, but because of the heat, there's only 1. So imagine that. That's already cutting production in half. And because the heat's rising and they're no longer able to grow coffee at the bottom of the mountains, they're replacing those coffee plants with avocado trees, which is awesome, but that stuff requires a lot of pesticides and fertilizers, and it's damaging the ecosystem over here, whereas coffee doesn't require all that stuff. So what are the growers doing to keep up with demand? Because everybody drinks coffee. Well, they talked about the US Agricultural Department, how slack they are on their regulation. You've probably read about the fish coming from Southeast Asia, from Vietnam, from China. They preserve it with antifreeze, and they use all sorts of other types of chemicals that are not good for you. It's just too much food coming in to feed 330 million people, not enough eyes looking at the food and trying to figure out what's good and what isn't. So people are getting away with a lot of stuff. And what they're doing with coffee is they're using malt, which is another grain. They use it to make beer, and they're using dried cow's blood. And the cow's blood is used to color the malt so it looks kind of like coffee. And then they mix it into all the dried coffee, and the ground dried coffee, and they export it. That's one of the things that they're doing. Another thing that's happening, because production is down, people are getting desperate. Remember, these are poor countries. They're trying to keep up with demand. Luckily, prices of coffee have doubled in the last year, and they're gonna keep skyrocketing because of climatic changes in the world. But what people are doing is they're switching from coffee production to coca leaves, because they grow in about the same environment. Coca is so popular here on the coast that people actually trade the leaves like a currency. So it's kind of cool. You can actually see people trading the stuff for food or whatever goods they might need. And I talked to like this coffee guy, I guess he's a coca producer on the bus. He was telling me, dude, I can carry a 100-pound sack of beans on my back, come down the mountain through the rainforest. It's a pain in the butt, and I'll get like 20 bucks. Or I can carry a little bag that weighs like a couple pounds of coca leaves, and I get like $200 or $300 for it. It's half the work. I don't have to carry all that weight in my back. It makes a lot of sense if you think about it. So like everything, economics is affecting production. Now let's talk a little bit about the myths. And a lot of the myths regarding coffee were started by Charles Post, or C.W. Post. He's the guy that created Post cereal. He's a doctor. And he made some really cool inventions, but he made this coffee made out of molasses, and he wanted to market it and sell it. And one way he did that was making up all these fake stories about coffee, like the one my grandmother used to tell me, that if we drank coffee when we were kids, it was gonna stunt our growth. A lot of older people remember these myths because he was, in the 50s, 40s, all that kind of stuff. That's when he started spreading these fake stories. So again, coffee does not stunt your growth. In fact, here in South America and Central America, where they grow a lot of coffee, they'll wean the kids from breast milk to coffee. All the kids here drink coffee in the morning, get them up in the morning, get them ready for school. The second one, probably one of the most popular one I hear even doctors and nurses and medical people repeat, is that coffee dehydrates you. It does not dehydrate you. It is a diuretic. It does make you go to the bathroom, makes you urinate more, but it does not dehydrate you. It's 99.9% water, so it's not going to dehydrate you. So that's not something that you have to worry about. Okay, let's go over some of the benefits. Number one, it's full of antioxidants, coffee. It has what's called plant polyphenols. And actually, in the United States, because people don't eat enough fruits and vegetables, most people get more antioxidants from coffee than they get from all the fruits and vegetables they eat. Now, that's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. It means we're not eating enough fruits and vegetables. So eat more fruits and vegetables. Number two, it's a strong antioxidant. So it's good for anti-cancer. So it helps prevent different types of cancers. And then number three, there's been a lot of research that's good for preventing Alzheimer's and other types of cognitive decline. Anytime you stimulate the brain like that, it keeps it more active. You're taking in more sensory stimuli for the environment, so your brain's gonna be more vibrant. Remember, if you don't stimulate your brain, it shrinks. It's kind of like a muscle. If you exercise, the muscles get big. If you don't, they get small. Muscles, if you don't read, if you don't stimulate them, they shrink. And coffee stimulates it so that you're taking in more sensory information from the environment. So inadvertently, it actually helps prevent brain disorders. And number four, one of the most popular, is weight loss. It's a stimulant, so it speeds up your metabolism, causes you to lose weight. In fact, a lot of weight loss products are made out of green coffee bean extract. And it was cool, at the coffee plantations, they showed us how they separate the different qualities of beans. And basically, the good quality goes to making coffee, and the poor quality beans, they're green, and it actually gets sent to these weight loss places where they make supplements out of it. So it's kind of cool. They use everything. There's no waste. Okay, let's go over some of the cons. So con number one, you're overstimulated. You drink coffee throughout the day, it's pumping up your adrenal glands. You're kind of in a fight or flight mode. That's not real good for you. It causes a lot of stress on your body. So that constant stress causes you to snap or other things like that. So it's overstimulating to your organs. Con number two, it speeds things up for you. And let me say why I don't think that's good. Remember, we live in the matrix, right? So everything is kind of like work, 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 consume, consume, consume. Let's keep the economy going. Well, if you're drinking coffee all day, you're working, you're hustling, it's gonna cause nervousness, it's gonna cause insomnia, it's gonna cause anxiety. So it's not real good for you. It just keeps you at this rapid pace all the time. I don't think it's real good for most people to do that. In fact, we're always looking to speed things up. TV's faster, life is faster, sit in traffic, go to work, go to the gym, and there's music pounding and everything's like, hurry up. Go to the gym, take some pre-workout supplements, you can go faster. That's not really good for the human body. At some point, it's good to just kind of chill out and just go at a normal pace. Con number three, a lot of people associate coffee with a big frothy drink full of sugar and cream and stuff like that. Unfortunately, that's the epitome of what you probably shouldn't be eating, what causes obesity. Now, the problem is that a lot of the places I work at, the people that I see that are pretty heavy, they're drinking those big Starbucks cups, with the round lids on them, and there's all the whipped cream on them and all that stuff. So they're mixing the habits. Instead of just drinking a cup of black coffee, which is probably your best option, they're mixing it with all these other creams and sugars and all that kind of stuff, and then it creates a lot of pleasure, so people crave it more. And the issue with coffee is coffee may have some antioxidants that are good for you, but when you mix it with creams and sugars and stuff like that, they'll actually work to nullify some of those antioxidant effects. So that's not what you want. Con number 4, it does cause some elevated excretion of urine because it is a diuretic, but it does not dehydrate you. But it does cause in some people that drink too much, probably like my dad that drinks 3 pots a day, it causes an electrolyte imbalance. So you have to be mindful of it. Again, you want to keep your portions down. If you're going to be drinking coffee, keep it black and keep it in low quantities. Con number 5, and this is probably the number 1 reason why I don't drink coffee: addiction. You know, it kind of trips me out when I go to work or I go to the hospitals or I go, see my friends or I'm traveling. People get up in the morning and their faces look really tired and worn out. I think it's because they've just been at a fast pace all day, drinking coffee, keeping themselves at this accelerated pace unnaturally. So it's kind of unnatural. People get up and they need it because they're addicted. I don't like that feeling of being addicted or reliant on anything in general. And I really don't think it's good for people to build up habits like that. I don't think it's one of the most productive type of habits you can have. In general, I think it's better to just rely on your body's natural ability to activate itself, like going out in the sunlight, stretching. I'll go over some strategies on things you can do. Con number 6, coffee does help clean your liver to some extent, but it also interferes with metabolism of some medications that people take. Con number 7, it can cause brain fog. People get up in the morning, they're irritable, they don't drink enough coffee. Those effects can last for several days if you don't get the coffee that you need. Con number 8, it increases your cortisol levels, which is a hormone that's released when you're under stress. So that causes more inflammation in your body. And again, that can cause weight loss and it can cause aging. Con number 9, it imbalances your gut flora. So it causes dysbiosis, and it can cause GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, or high acidity levels in your stomach. So if you're someone that eats a lot of meat and you're drinking coffee, it's going to cause more problems with indigestion. And actually, I read this interesting research article in time on cancer, for a cancer book that I'm writing right now. It talks about how if you drink coffee in the morning and you eat processed meats like bacon or sausage or anything like that, that combination creates one of the deadliest carcinogens known to man. So if you drink coffee in the morning with your bacon and eggs, don't separate them. Give them at least an hour separation, or drink your coffee a half hour before your breakfast or an hour after your breakfast if you're going to eat processed meats. Otherwise, those antioxidants are going to be canceled out and you're going to be creating a really bad carcinogen that you don't want in your body. Tip number 10, this is something I've learned. A lot of these things I learned working with patients. A lot of patients that have insomnia, or they have anxiety, or they have other type of psychiatric disorders, they're irritable, they drink coffee, it just makes things worse. So if you have any of those types of symptoms, even if they're mild, you're not like a psych patient, you probably want to cut back on your coffee. I know when I started trying to drink caffeine regularly, but in terms of green tea, even the green tea caffeine was too much for me. It was causing me to become irritable and I was starting to snap and stuff at work, so I had to cut it out. I switched to other alternatives, which I'll share with you now. Okay, so let's talk about some healthy alternatives you can drink to coffee. First off, I don't recommend decaf because that's been washed with chemical solvents. So decaf coffee is probably not something I would drink. Also, the chemical solvents remove a lot of the antioxidants and the health benefits that the coffee actually has. Another alternative is yerba mate. Yerba mate is really good. It speeds up your metabolism. It's good for weight loss. It tastes good and it has a lot of antioxidants. Number 2, green tea. That's usually what I tell patients to drink. It has not as much caffeine, but it does have some caffeine, and it has a lot of antioxidants. It's actually one of the strongest anti-cancer foods you can eat. And if you have a problem with the caffeine like I do, you can drink maca green tea, which has 160 times the antioxidants that regular green tea. It has a different growing process. It's darker green, it's ground into a powder. So I totally recommend maca green tea. It gets you focused, but it doesn't give you that jitteriness. You don't have like twitching or any of that stuff. And it's really good for speeding up your metabolism, weight loss. Number 4, licorice tea. I like this stuff. It tastes good. It's good for your adrenals, and it's kind of like a tonic. It helps detoxify your liver. Number 5, wheatgrass juice. It's full of nutrients, antioxidants. It blows away coffee's antioxidants and mineral content. And it's a natural energizer. When you drink in the morning, it gets you really pumped. Whenever I can find it at a Starbucks or a Jamba Juice or something like that, I'll buy some wheatgrass juice. Number 6, reishi mushrooms. It's really invigorating. It's a Chinese mushroom that they use in the mornings. It's brewed, it's really tasty. It has a lot of medicinal benefit. Number 7, rooibos tea, Rooibos tea. Has a lot of health benefits. Number 8, cold water showers. That's my favorite. I do in the mornings for about 30 seconds. The cold water causes vasoconstriction. Your vessels will close up, and then you put the hot water on for a second, and then that causes vasodilation. That opening and closing causes like a pumping effect in your body. So it gets your brain and it gets everything really going. Tip number 9, this is one of my favorites, stretching. Just stretch out, get your blood flowing. Stretch out, go on the sunlight, let the sunlight hit you. The sun has an activating effect on you. Get your circadian rhythms going. Circadian rhythm is kind of like your body's balance with the environment, with the sun and the moon. It's a natural phenomenon. It's been studied. It's something that's natural, and it's better to live symbiotically with the environment. So if you go out in the sunlight for a few minutes every morning while you drink your coffee or whatever you're gonna do, if you decide to do one of these teas, it's gonna wake you up even more. The sun has a really positive effect on people, especially first thing in the morning. Helps balance out your hormones. That way your sleep-wake cycle will be more consistent. Tip number 10, walking barefoot. Remember, we have electricity in our bodies. For me to do this, I have to send electrical signals to my muscles for them to move. So your body is positively charged, has positively charged ions, and the earth is negatively charged. I'm actually standing here in the cement barefooted. I would prefer dirt, but even cement is cool. You walk around on it, and the earth actually transmits electrical charges into your body, and it helps charge you up and invigorates you. And then number 11 is a bonus. One of my favorites I've just been practicing in the last few years, holotropic breathing. If you've never done it before, it's really cool. It helps you release DMT in your brain, stimulates your brain, it helps the mood. It's awesome. I do it for about 8 minutes every morning. I do some breathing exercises while I sit out in the sun, and I'm pumped. Right now it's about 5 in the morning here, and I'm ready to go. As you can see, everybody's still sleeping because they've been out partying all night here. So anyway, I hope that helps. There's some healthy alternatives for you and why I think you should wean off coffee and try something else. And from Cartagena, Colombia, this is Dr. Ernesto Martinez. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.